Today I am doing a full property tour of this historic home at 30 Anson Street here in downtown Charleston. But before I tell you everything about the amazing architecture and history of this home, I'm going to show you the inside. My name is Irina Bordyn with Agent on Realty, and I'm super excited to show you this historic home at 30 Anson Street. So this is a 4-bedroom, 3 full bathroom, 2 half bathroom home with 4,158 square feet. It is currently listed for $3.8 million, and the listing agent is Sarah Louise from the Boulevard Company. Here's a view of the 2 piazzas, which is just basically a fancy word for double porches. And the style of this home is the Greek Revival architecture. And I'll tell you all about what that means in just a little bit. So as I come up the stairs, you have the beautiful exposed brick and a large front porch where people used to drink all their sweet teas and had company and enjoyed the breeze on the porch. So my friends, let's go inside. So we have the original door here. And you notice right away, these are original pine floors. So this house was rebuilt around 1839. There was a big fire in 1838 that pretty much demolished all Anson Borough here in Charleston. So here to the left of the foyer is a formal living room. You know, that's where the people from back in the day, had their company and had their tea and everything. So almost every room in this house has the fireplaces, the original fireplaces. So they are non-functional, but give so much character and beauty. Look at the refinished original brick. Isn't that gorgeous? So let's move on. Also, I want to point out the windows here. They are single pane windows, and here in Charleston, the Board of Architectural Review makes sure that this remains the old style and the old character. And notice how crooked that is, and they have to make it that way so to keep, the character of the house. I think it is so charming. So then to the right of the foyer is the formal dining room. So the current owner has actually plans that, could change this space and could turn it into a gourmet kitchen. If you want, I can send you the plans. They are beautiful. So let's move on over here. There are 2 more entrances. That was the original, entrance for the help to come in. There is also a half bathroom that has been newly installed. So here is the kitchen. You have a nice island that fits 4 stools. There is also the original fireplace. And then you have a lot of cabinets here that the current owner installed. No, actually, they were already there. They got them painted, and they are beautiful. They have the copper, handles here. They also installed a mini split, so when you're cooking, you're, staying nice and cool. The backsplash is beautiful ceramic tile, very subtle. You have a Wolf, check it out, a Wolf gas range with 4 burners and the middle griddle. And here is a view to the inside. And then to make the cabinets match, they chose a white refrigerator. It's very modern, and I love that. Throughout the house you see the old classic historic style from Charleston from back in the day, paired with very modern elements like the light fixtures. Then over here you have a lot of pantry space. Let me show you. to store all your groceries. And you could even keep, your crock pot and whatnot there. So there is ample space. There's also another additional door here, so you could bring your groceries right through here if you don't want to use the other door that is right over there. So that gives you lots of options. But as I mentioned, the plans here for a little redesign of the space is this could be a great office or an additional 5th bedroom, and you would turn that dining room that I just showed you a minute ago into a gourmet kitchen. So before I take you upstairs to show you the 2 bedrooms upstairs, I'm going to show you a real highlight here. Behind this super cute, I would say 510 door is a real beautiful space. So there is an additional bedroom here, and everything has been meticulously, renovated. So let me give you first the layout of the land, and then we go check everything out in detail. So here is another separate entrance. I'm assuming, and we should never assume, but I'm assuming anyway, that this was the original kitchen where the help prepared all the food for the owners. We are basically here on ground level. Actually, we are a little below ground level, so it's more like a cellar. Where all the food supplies were being kept dark and cool for preservation. So here is the fireplace. So I'm thinking this is where the food got prepared. And over here was an additional half bathroom that got installed, for your convenience. Also, I want to point out these gorgeous ceramic tile floors, and here again it's the pairing the ultra modern with the old Charlestonian architectural style, and I think they hit it just right. I am absolutely in love with this style. So then over here you have a little bit of a hangout area. You can have a glass of wine and meet, have a friend over. Also here on the left is the washer dryer unit, of course, usually pleasantly disguised behind the double doors. Then we have 2 utility closets. So here's number 1 where the air handler is. And then over here we have another one with the water heater. And do you see these exposed beams? These, I wouldn't be surprised if they are still original. They are in fantastic condition. So now we are heading down the hallway. There is a full bathroom here, Everything has been modernized. And there is a large walk-in shower, with a frameless glass door. And here we notice we have a different, also modern tile, just to switch it up a little. And then leading here to a separate family room, also with a gorgeous fireplace. You also have exposed beams, and here again, look at this ultra cool, very modern floor tile. So yeah, and I have to say it's super cool down here. I totally like that. So check out this door. This is the original door. Let me show it to you from the outside. So totally love that. And then, they have this private little courtyard here tucked away to the side, so you can't even see it from the front of the house. So it's like super private. This could be like, for the cooler seasons, you can have a seating arrangement out here and enjoy your outdoor meals. Very, very private, very cool. So here is one more view of this beautiful family room area. And now I'm gonna go all the way to the second floor and show you the other two bedrooms. So I'm going up the stairs. And right at the top, you have the double doors leading to the upper piazza. Let me show this to you. So from this upper porch, you have a beautiful view to St. Philip's Steeple and also St. Michael's Church. I'm not sure if I can zoom in close enough for you to see it, but there is on the left St. Philip's, and in the background, the white one there is St. Michael's. I'm standing right now at one side, at one end of the upper porch, because I wanted to give you a view, you know, from the upstairs towards the street, and also give you an idea of how big this space is. And then here is the view, and I'm always getting a little leery because I'm afraid of heights, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna show you this yard and the space for a lot of parking. So you do need to know that this is truly a double lot, and it gives you so many options, and I will tell you about that when I go back downstairs to show you the outside. Before we go inside, I wanted to point out in what good condition these porches are. Everything has been meticulously maintained. So it looks like there was never any deferred maintenance here. Look at these. There could be also original shutters from almost 190 years ago. So over here is the same layout that we saw downstairs. So let me show you. This over here was that little piazza I showed you, you know, where you could have like private dinners outside. That was the entrance to the kitchen over there. So we do have also a separate door here, but here this used to be a door, but they turned it into a window. I just came back inside. So first I'm going here to the left of the staircase, and I'm going to show you this gorgeous main bedroom. So it is larger than large. I have to say, everything looks in perfect condition. The walls, the ceiling, the crown molding, they have plantation shutters on the windows throughout. Very nice. So there is again one of these gorgeous fireplaces, and then over here is the closet. So we notice there are, oopsie, let me show you. There is no key here, but they have a little snap mechanism here to get it open and closed. Did you hear snap? Anyway, so look at those large baseboards. So here is the walk-in closet on the way to the private main bathroom. So there are some built-ins here already for your convenience, but I do believe you could do a lot more with this space. Then over here is the very, very large and generous main bedroom. So we have a beautiful freestanding sofa top here, beautiful tile behind it to give it the right accent. Then there are two separate vanities. So I suppose this is her vanity, has two great light fixtures on top. And then on the other side, to the right of the walk-in shower, you have his vanity. It's a little bit smaller, but you know, I think the separation is a great feature. So then over here is the separate water closet for, you know, the privacy that most people love. And then here you have the exterior door. However, it is shut, so you cannot open it. And, you know, check it out. I don't know whether you can see this on camera, but this is like super crooked from back in the day. And it has to stay that way because that is the true Charleston charm. The floors, you know, I have to tell you, when I walk on them, they are very, very sturdy. I mean, nothing is level here. This is a common feature for old historic homes, but there is no creaking, absolutely nothing. I don't see any gaps. Everything has been, you know, whenever it was remodeled, professionally done. Yes, the whole 9 yards. So the last space I'm going to show you here on the second floor is a secondary bedroom. Also extremely generous in size. It's very, very big. So the pine floors, just like in the rest of the house. From here, you do have a beautiful, you know, view to St. Philip's steeple. So just like the other spaces in this house, this one also has the fireplace where, you know, people back in the day got their room heated. And then over here is a full bathroom. So you have a single, you know, vanity, freestanding vanity with black metal framed mirror and a walk-in shower, you know, very large in space. So here also the closet has that little snip mechanism. Did you hear it? Very nifty. There it is. And here is your closet. So now I'm going to take you outside and tell you about the history and about, you know, the outside space and what you could do with it. And if you know, just saying, if you want to see this house in person, just connect with me. The link is in the description. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this property tour, this is a historic home. It's called the Edward McCrady's house, circa 1840. So in 1838, there was a large fire here that pretty much destroyed all the homes in Anson Borough. They got quickly rebuilt, and at the time, the Greek revival Charleston single was en vogue. That period lasted for about, you know, from 1820 to around 1850. So a lot of the properties here in Anson Borough have this Greek revival Charleston single style. So what actually does that mean? There are elements of the Greek ancient temples, you know, so we do have the double piazzas, we do have a lot of columns. Another feature of the Greek revival architecture is the symmetry. You know, if you look at the windows, everything is perfectly in line. You know, we have 2 on the second floor, 2 on the first floor, and 2 on the ground floor over here. So then another sign of that you know, architecture is the front door. So some of the Anson Borough homes have a triangle over the front door. So this one does not. You know, maybe there was one at one point in time, but this one doesn't show it. Maybe I will do another property tour that will show that ancient triangle that is a feature from the old Greek temples. Another feature of this architectural style is the bold cornice. So that is the part where, you know, the wall there hits the roof. You know, basically the oversized trim there. So that is also very typical for the Greek revival architecture. You know, also here I want to draw your attention, you know, again to the symmetry. The first and second floor is absolutely symmetrical as far as the facade is concerned. So let me go a little back here so you can see the full picture. So look at the windows. They are absolutely symmetrical. This was considered a sign of beauty and perfection. Let's talk a little bit about the McGrady family. So we have to distinguish between Senior Edward McGrady and Junior. The senior was the one who built this house at around 1840 after the big fire here in Anson Borough. And it was the junior that's actually more famous because he was a prominent lawyer here in Charleston. He was a Confederate officer, he was a politician, and he was a historian who actually wrote a few books that you can still find at the historian library here in Charleston. So let's talk about parking here, because parking comes at a premium in downtown Charleston and can sometimes be a challenge, but not with this property. Look, so there is a humongous parking pad. So there is that big Range Rover. There is my, in comparison, looks very small Lexus, and there is space for another one. And then you have all this driveway here. You could park easily 2 cars up to here and another, at least one big vehicle or 2 smaller ones over here to the left. Because, this property comes on a double lot, and it is truly a double lot. Then over here you have a green space. You could actually build a gorgeous pool here, if wanted. So this is what I'm always saying in life. It's all about options. You don't have to do it, but if you wanted to, here you do have the options of a great space. And I'm not saying this isn't great and grand already, because it is. Can you listen to the cicadas singing? I'm not sure if you can hear that in the video, but it's great. I absolutely love it. So let's check out, last but not least, the little courtyard, that I mentioned earlier. I think this would be the perfect space for romantic dinners, because you cannot see this from anywhere. It's hidden from the street, so that's really, really darling. So the current owners got both porches, both piazzas, completely dismantled and rebuilt. Of course, it got the bar's seal of approval. The bar is the Board of Architectural Review. So all this construction is super solid. Everything got sistered properly for a safe structural construction. Anson Street is a one-way street, very private, very quiet. So here's the view from the other side, and here is one of these small alleys leading to a backyard. So this would be, just to give you an idea what a difference a double lot makes, because this is a single lot that is right across the street. So this property at 30 Anson Street has so many perks. Let's talk about the location a little bit. So you are 1 block south of Wentworth. You are also only a block and a half, from Market Street with the famous markets. You are in walking distance to the French Quarters with all the fabulous art galleries. And, this location is in a sense unique because it is private. Anson Street is a one-way street. So even though you are in the midst of downtown Charleston, you don't get the hustle and bustle from all the tourism. So that's also a big perk. So I hope you enjoyed this property tour, this full home tour of a gorgeous historic home here in downtown Charleston. Please let me know if you have any questions, if you want to tour this house or any other home here in the Charleston area. Just connect with me. The link is in the description. Please like and subscribe and share. And I catch you at the next video. Have a great day. Bye, guys.